Write down the primes in order: 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, and keep going forever. Now do something almost childishly simple with them. Put a decimal point down and just write their digits, one prime after another, with no gaps. You get 0.2357, then 1 for 11, 1 3 for 13, and on and on. A single number between 0 and 1 built from nothing but the primes laid end to end. It looks like noise. It is not noise. This number has a name. It is called the Copeland and Erdős constant, after the two mathematicians who studied it in 1946. And they proved something about it that sounds impossible at first. Hidden inside these digits, in a precise and provable sense, is every finite string of digits you could ever write. Your birthday, your phone number, the first million digits of pi. All of it is in there, and each piece shows up exactly as often as pure chance would put it. To say that precisely, we need one idea, and it has a name, a normal number. Take any ordinary run of digits, like the decimal part of a number, and start counting. How often does the digit 7 appear? How often does the digit 0 appear? If the number is normal in base 10, then as you look at more and more digits, every one of the 10 digits shows up equally often. Each one settles toward 1/10 of the total. Not roughly, not on average with luck, but as an exact limit. But normality asks for far more than single digits. Look at pairs instead. There are 100 possible pairs, from 0, 0 up to 9, 9. In a normal number, every pair appears 1/100th of the time. Look at triples, 1,000 of them, each 1,000th of the time. For every block length, every possible block of that length appears, and appears with exactly the frequency you would get from rolling a fair 10-sided die over and over. That is the whole definition. A normal number is one whose digits, in every block size, are as evenly spread as a fair random sequence. Nothing clumps, nothing is missing, nothing is favored. And the strong consequence is the one from a moment ago. If every block appears with its fair frequency, then in particular, every block appears at all. A normal number literally contains every finite string of digits somewhere inside it. Here is the first genuinely strange fact, and it cuts two ways at once. If you were to pick a real number completely at random, its digits would be normal. Not might be, will be, with probability 1. This was proved by Borel in 1909. In the precise language of measure, the numbers that fail to be normal take up no room at all. Normality is not the exception, it is the overwhelming rule. Almost every number that exists is normal, so you would think normal numbers are everywhere and easy to point at. They are everywhere. They are not easy to point at, because the moment you name a specific number that people actually care about, we usually cannot prove it is normal. Take pi. Its digits look every bit as scrambled as a normal number, and billions of them have been checked, and they behave. But there is no proof that pi is normal. None. The same blank sits next to e, next to the square root of 2, next to the natural log of 2, next to essentially every famous constant. We strongly suspect they are all normal. We cannot prove a single one of them is. So we are in the odd position of knowing that almost every number is normal, while being unable to certify the handful of numbers we know by name. That gap is exactly where today's number earns its place. If proving a natural constant normal is so hard, there is an obvious dodge. Build a number on purpose to be normal. The first person to pull this off was David Champernowne in 1933, while he was still an undergraduate. His number is delightfully blunt. Put down a decimal point and write out the whole numbers in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then 10, 11, 12, glued together with no gaps. 0.123456789101112, and so on. Champernowne proved this number is normal in base 10, and it was the first explicit example anyone could write down. But look at why it works. You get every block for free because you deliberately typed out every block. Want to find the string 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? It is sitting right there where you wrote the number 123,456. The number contains everything because it was assembled by hand out of everything. It is almost a tautology. That is a real achievement, but it feels a little like cheating. Of course, a list of all numbers contains all numbers. The deep question is whether normality can come out of a sequence that was never designed to produce it. A sequence with no interest in containing every string. A sequence as stubborn and irregular as the primes. Because the primes are exactly that kind of sequence, the opposite of designed. The primes thin out. Below 10, 40% of numbers are prime. Below 100, a quarter of them. Below a million, under 8%, about 1 in 13, and the fraction keeps sliding towards 0 forever. They get rarer the further you go, they fall in no pattern anyone can predict, and there is certainly no rule steering their digits to spell out every possible string. Nobody built the primes to be tidy, and yet, Copeland and Erdős took this thinning, patternless, undesigned sequence, wrote its digits end to end into that one constant from the start, and proved the result is normal in base 10. Every digit 1/10, every pair 1/100th, every block of every length its exact fair share. The same clean property that we cannot prove for pi falls out, provably, from the raw digits of the primes. That is the punchline of the whole story, so it is worth being clear about what is surprising. It is not surprising that some number is normal. Almost all of them are. It is surprising that a specific, nameable number, made from a sequence famous for having no order at all, can be pinned down and proven to have perfect digit order in the limit. The primes have no reason to cooperate. They cooperate anyway. The reason they cooperate is worth seeing, at least in outline, because it turns the surprise into something almost natural. Here is the key shift. Do not think about the primes as scattered dots. Think about the primes with a fixed number of digits. How many primes have exactly, say, 5 digits? The answer is a great many, and they are spread all across the 5-digit range. Whatever 5-digit string you pick, there are primes just above it and just below it. The primes with a given length do not avoid any region. They are sprinkled all the way through. So take any string you care about and ask where it can appear. It appears at the front of primes. There are primes that begin with your string. It appears in the middle and at the end of longer primes too. Because primes of each length are everywhere in that length's range, and because there are so many of them, the counts of how often each block shows up cannot stay lopsided. As you concatenate more and more primes, the tally for every block is dragged toward its fair share. The engine underneath is the prime number theorem, the precise statement of how the primes thin out. It says the primes are rare, but it also says exactly how many there are up to any size, and that count is large enough and smooth enough that no digit pattern can get a permanent advantage. Copeland and Erdős turned that balance into a proof. Rare, yes. Lopsided, no. Now let the consequence loose, because this is the part that feels like a magic trick, and is simply true. Every finite string of digits appears somewhere in this constant. Not most strings, every string. Pick anything. Take 4 too. It first shows up remarkably early, at the 214th digit tucked between 2 primes. Take the opening of pi, 314159. Those 6 digits of pi are sitting inside the primes constant 2, starting at digit 6903. Want a run of 6 nines in a row? It arrives by the 455,000th digit. Want the first digits of E, 271828? They appear a little past the 869,000th digit. And your birthday, and the digits of your phone number, and any message at all once you code it into digits. Every one of them is guaranteed to be in there, somewhere, infinitely often. The number is finite to write a rule for, and endless in what it contains. This is not a loophole, or a coincidence of the first million digits. It is forced by normality. A number in which every block occurs with positive frequency is a number in which every block occurs, full stop, and occurs again and again without end. There is an honest wrinkle worth showing, because it makes the result more believable, not less. The evening out is real, but it is slow. Look at the very start of the constant. The primes love to begin with a 1, 1, 1, 1, 3, 17, 19, a whole flood of small primes carrying the digit 1. So early on, the digit 1 is wildly overrepresented, and the digit 0 barely appears at all. In the first 100 digits, the digit 1 takes up about a third of them, while 0 shows up only a handful of times. But watch what happens as the depth grows. At 1,000 digits, the bars are still lumpy, but less so. At 10,000, closer. At 100,000, closer still. The worst gap between any digit's share and the ideal 1/10 shrinks step after step, from about a fifth of the way off, down to a sixth, to a bit over a tenth, and on down. The theorem does not promise fast, it promises the limit, and the limit is dead level. The same slow, certain settling happens for pairs, converging on 1/100th, and for every block size below it. It is the mathematical version of a coin that has come up heads too often early on, and then, given enough tosses, drifts back to exactly half. Given enough primes, every pattern drifts to exactly its fair share. So step back and hold the two halves of this together. On one side, the numbers we revere, pi, e, the square root of 2, studied for centuries, computed to trillions of digits, and still we cannot prove their digits are evenly spread. On the other side, a number almost no one has heard of, assembled in an afternoon by writing the primes in a row, and for it we have a complete, airtight proof of exactly the property the famous constants will not give up. That is the quiet lesson of the Copeland and Erdős constant. Being normal is the ordinary condition of numbers, shared by almost all of them, and yet catching a specific number in the act is so hard that the clearest example we have had to be handmade from the primes. The primes, which look like the least orderly thing in mathematics, turn out to carry perfect order in their digits, if you only stack enough of them. Write the primes in a row and you get a number that hides every prime, every date, every string of digits ever written, each one appearing exactly as often as chance would allow. It looked like noise. It was the most even thing of all.